So recently we heard an alarming story about a primary level school that if you wore the wrong shoes, you put the student in front of the classroom and have the rest of the class point at them chanting, "Shame on you, shame on you." Now, that cannot be good for neither the child being shamed nor the shamers. So let's talk about public shaming with the president of the Jamaica Guidance Counselors Association, Rosette Gordon James. Good morning, ma'am. Welcome to Smile Jamaica. It's morning time. Public shaming. Did that happen when we were youngsters? Did teachers behave like that and parents when we were youngsters?
Well, actually, yes, it did happen. We had situations where even in squares, in community squares, where parents would run down children, beat them with switches and different things. So it's not something new.
But it was always wrong.
Always. And the effects have always been the same.
The effects would be?
Well, poor self-esteem is one of them, where persons who would have achieved more don't because they don't believe as much in themselves before. And so they start to see themselves less than they really are. It can also have more severe effects, like persons going into depression, having anxiety disorders.
We have some highlights, and Delia will talk about the first one. Some people might say, I use even my family. I mean, we get leaks inside, outside, at school, all about. And some people will say, but, you know, see them all right now, and we sure did that did get too like a clap as a positive she did. And some people say nothing go wrong with us. So why are we saying that you must? And I accept that you shouldn't, don't get me wrong. I agree that we should not be doing this. But do we understand what else we should do to get the best out of our youngsters?
Well, now we are making efforts now, and a number of guidance counselors have been doing parenting workshops in the schools to help parents to cope better. Even the Parents Month theme this month, Be the Influence, is helping parents to know that there are more effective ways to help to get the potential you want out of your children. So things like highlighting the positive, because a lot of times we just take the positive for granted. And so when the child does something, acknowledge it. Allow the child to see that they can get attention for positive things. Because children like attention, whether it's negative or positive. So usually whatever you spend more time on is what you get more of.
All right, so we have 10 really good ways why public shaming is never okay. And one of the first things is the psychological damage to the child. It says it's a child's birthright to trust their parent, to feel safe, and to be treated with dignity and respect. Is that part of the challenge that we don't see children as having rights?
I think coming even out of the era that we would have grown up in, that where children are to be seen and not heard, there are some parents who still have some of these ideals in mind. And so the child rights is new. And some parents are saying, what about their rights? And so, but it's important for us to know that children have rights, and these rights are not there to cause children to be rude. These rights are there to help children to be better. These rights are there to bring out the best in a child, to help them to know that they are just as important as adults and they need to be heard. They're going to be our future.
Long-term effects.
Yes, some of these effects are very long-term and can cause them to not achieve the potential that they were meant to have. So it can get as severe as even suicide. Because sometimes you don't see what's happening with public shaming. The child might, to save face, have a smile on their face. The child might pretend nothing is happening, but you don't know what is happening internally. And so it is important not to just look at what's happening on the outside, because some parents, some adults go overboard because they're not seeing the effect on the outside that they want to see. But it's important to know that this is damaging the child's inside. This is damaging how the child feels about him or herself and how they see others and the importance in the world. And so now, especially with boys, the image now is either to act out more, to save face, to get back the ego, to show persons that, yes, this did not affect you, or to get into themselves, to get more reserved, and so that they're not doing as much as they would have.
Is it also that the parents, the guardians, the caregivers are kind of embarrassed? So my son embarrassed me because he's my son and he behave a little way. So because he embarrassed me, I'm going to clap him in front of everybody who embarrassed me. Is that one of the things?
That happens too. And parents just need to realize that children will make mistakes, but the more effective measure is done in private. More happens in private. So for the child to know that this is going to be dealt with, this is not over. I noticed what you did. And allow the consequences. So as soon as you get somewhere, even to pull the child aside where you are. So you're in a supermarket and a child did something. Pull the child to an aisle where somebody is and have the conversation. What was that? What just happened? Because you might not know what happened that caused this behavior.
Okay.
So the conversation with the child is important.
And same when you don't want nobody shame you.
That's
don't
it.
shame nobody. Our third point, it's a thumbs up to bullying. So meaning if you're bullying the child, you're either teaching the child that it's okay to do the same, or that when somebody bullies them, that's really how life is, eh?
Albert Bandura did an experiment, and he just allowed children to see a clown being bullied. When the children went in the playground, they took the hammer, just like they saw in the video, and bullied the clown and hit the clown. So actions, monkey see, monkey do. Persons model behavior more than even what we say. So we have to be careful as adults what we do, because those actions are modeled.
Yeah. It models a huge lack of empathy, respect, tact, and maturity, which kind of sums up a lot of what we've been saying.
Yes.
In terms of not connecting with the child.
child.
Yeah. I find there was a survey that was done which said the children, in fact, have more long-term damage and actually dislike the public shaming more than even the corporal punishment.
Yes, because this is showing all that you've achieved, all your accomplishments, things that you're proud of before your friends, because especially with teenagers, this is a stage where the friends are even more important than what the teacher thinks of you, what your parents think of you. So if you put them down before their friends, this is like damaging their whole, Erickson would call it the stage of identity versus role confusion.
Yeah.
So this is damaging their identity. Who are they? If you're going to damage who they think they are.
We have a lot more, but let's look at some solutions. It says better ways to discipline. Focus on the positive. That's the first one?
Yes, focus on the positive, because the children are doing things positive. No matter how negative you see behaviors, there were positive behaviors there. So even as adults, in teaching, persons always get upset when if you're early a lot and then one day you're late and the principal says, oh, you're late. No. What about the days when I was early? Same thing with the child, right? I ate my dinner and I washed the plate. Acknowledge it. Don't just take it for granted. Acknowledge it, because the child will see that you appreciate the good that they're doing. In this classroom, the child finishes their work and hand it up. Thank you for finishing your work. I'm proud of you. It says something to acknowledge the positive that is happening.
Be proactive. Establish rules you want your kids to follow.
And keep them. That's the important thing. Because a lot of parents establish rules, but they do not maintain them. They do not enforce them. So it's important that if you say that bedtime is at 9, not because the child is doing something they enjoy, you decide, okay, 9:30. If bedtime is at 9, it is to be at 9.
Yeah.
So
Listen
the
to
child
your
knows.
kids.
Very important. Because children, a lot of children, when even we talk to them, they say the parents don't have time to listen. When you talk to the parents, they say they listen. But listening has eye contact. Listening is stopping and saying, okay.
Acknowledging what you're hearing.
Acknowledging, right. Giving them attention and allowing them to know that, yes, I have a full day, but you're an important part of my day.
Timeouts are appropriate for younger kids. For older kids, taking away privileges may be effective.
And privileges is an important word, because not rights. So you don't take away lunch money. You don't take away food. Privileges, things that they can survive without.
Like the phone and...
Right, the phone, the tablet, things like that. Internet access, if it's not homework time. And so things like that.
I want to ask you, because we had a discussion about corporal punishment, and I was saying, what do you do with a child that comes to school when corporal punishment is all they know, and she was talking about taking away privileges, and I was saying, but you can't take a cell phone in school. What are the guidance counselors saying about this new shift? How are we going to maintain discipline without corporal punishment?
Well, it's a relearning process.
Right.
Because to help the child to know that there's something for you, this is about you. So it's not about the teacher, it's not about the parent, this is about you. So who do you want to be seen as? How do you want to be perceived? So to help you to achieve a better you. So to help them to understand that, yes, we're not in slavery times where a whip has to be over you. And we don't want persons to have to belittle you in that way. So you need to make sure that you do not have to get this type of belittling. And so to help them to understand that the other ways of discipline are just as effective, and for the teachers to believe in it too. Because a lot of the teachers grew up in corporal punishment, they still administer. Yeah. But for them to know that if the discipline measures are maintained, if they are consistent with them, they do work. Right. And children do appreciate them. Just one thing that was not mentioned for teachers, because even the story that was mentioned before, a lot of teachers need help. A lot of teachers have unresolved issues that they need to deal with, and so it comes out in other ways. Because even yesterday we had a healing camp for counselors to just share their issues. And we have our guidance counselors conference coming up in December for counselors to just come and get refreshed in information, get more strategies, right? But we make sure we have like a self-care section to it, right? Where counselors will get to exercise, counselors get to look about taking care of themselves. That is from December 5 to 8 at Holiday Inn. And it's important for even teachers to know, parents to know, self-care is important.
All right. Thanks a lot for coming. President of the Jamaica Guidance Counselors Association, Rosette Gordon-James from Sam Sharp Teachers College. Good.
All right, so please stay with us. We're going to kill your fear of failure. After this, we'll be right back.
Kill?